Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. On Friday, I released a video discussing the Carlos Maza, aka Voxboy, controversy and the concerted efforts by Vox Media and traditional media sites to facilitate an attack on their YouTube competitors that YouTube's ideologically driven decision-making has facilitated in an unprecedented demonetization of channels, many of which are completely innocent of the quote-unquote hate speech crimes which they've been accused. As a result of this video, I have received what one might expect in my situation. Harassing DMs on social media and via email, trolls attacking me on social media, along with hateful and sometimes spiteful comments on the video itself. I have also been directly asked to apologize by no fewer than 50 individuals for promoting bigotry and hate speech. So I've decided to accept those calls for apology and issue an apology not only to those that were directly and viscerally harmed by words that a stranger said on the internet, but to everyone. And while I planned on issuing an apology with all of the tact and sincerity from the finest schools of apologies like confirmed plagiarist Philip Mewson, including but not limited to a deep, resigned sigh at the beginning of the video and a dramatic walk-off at the end of the video, for some reason I'm having a bad hair day, and I feel that everyone has suffered enough without the added hateful and hurtful injury that would be being subjected to my hair not being at its absolute and glorious best. While I know that even on a bad hair day, my hair is still exceptional enough to make others enraged in abject jealousy, I feel that each and every one of you deserves only my best hair. When each hair is in perfect position, denoting a flow and a thickness that makes one wish to run their fingers through it and marvel at its glorious nature. So there will be no face cam in this video, no dramatic walk-off, merely me sitting here with my nearly perfect hair on the day of my birth, in which I am now turning 40 years old, issuing this public apology with as much of a fake quiver in my voice as I can muster. First, I would like to apologize to the world at large. I created my video in the clearly mistaken impression that I was fighting not only for my channel's existence, but for the existence of YouTubers everywhere. The bitter and spiteful mobs have shown me in no uncertain terms that for daring to stand up for myself, I'm nothing more than a racist, a homophobe, a transphobe, a white supremacist, a bigot, and a perpetuator of the heteronormative patriarchal culture on YouTube that promotes hate speech and provides a haven for alt-right Nazis. It is clear to me that the only way for me to not be all of these things is to simply shut up and accept the eventual oblivion of my channel in order to make someone feel better about themselves, and if I resist in any way, then I am all of these things and more by default, meaning any and all struggling for your channel's continued existence is clearly an act of extreme oppression against the clearly victimized Vox Media and Vox Media reporter who has the full backing of a multi-billion-dollar corporation compared to my channel of less than 100,000 subscribers that is hated by the very platform on which it resides, and was a completely unforgivable act on my part. Next, I would like to apologize to all of the people that felt victimized by my defense of my channel's right to survive, much for the same reason. By simple virtue of you standing there on ground, metabolizing oxygen makes each and every one of you both beautiful and brave. In my video, while intended as a form of self-defense, it is clear to me that any and all attempts to defend myself is actually an act of oppression and an attack against your egos and your emotional state. I can only hope that you were able to reach your nearest safe space before too much psychological damage was done. For those that were so upset by my defending my channel's existence that they were caused physical discomfort in the form of cramping, muscle spasms, early onset dementia, anal leakage, and or projectile vomiting, I can only hope that as the years go by and the scars of your ordeal slowly fade from your minds, that you can learn to forgive me, so that one day, when I do pass from this world, that I might be allowed to reach the gates of Valhalla. To all of the people that attempted to debate against me by making points that I myself made within the video, it was wrong of me to point out that you clearly had not watched the video, and it was also clearly wrong of me to insult the intelligence of those that would attempt to argue with someone without even bothering to determine if they themselves hadn't made that very point within the video in question. It's been made clear to me already that it is my duty to meekly accept any and all criticism, and that those who have mustered up the monumental courage to attempt to engage me in argument via social media, each of you is both beautiful and brave. It takes extreme courage to type out words to a faceless individual on social media, and I both respect and admire your exceptional bravery. This brings me to the 5 or 6 people that I either muted or blocked on Twitter. I'm sorry. I was wrong in my oppressive and clearly bigoted and racist stance that I might not want to engage with every single beautiful and brave person that comes along. I now know that it is my duty to acknowledge such beautiful and brave behavior and allow my entire day to be taken up by such individuals, and to make sure to respond to each and every one so they can continue to berate and deride me in any number of fashion that more truly reflects the second-class human status that is my straight white maleness. Heteronormativity indeed, brave people. Heteronormativity indeed. The same thing for the people in the comments section of the video that were deemed to be exceptionally vitriolic or were resorting to name-calling. I recognize that you too are beautiful and brave people for the same reasons that were just listed for those on Twitter and Facebook. And while I recognize that many of you are the same individuals in both circumstances, there may well have been one or two people that were not. So to each of you, I also acknowledge your beautifulness and your bravitude in putting yourselves in harm's way in the manner in which you did. You too deserve to mercilessly berate me at will, as is befitting your clearly elevated status over me in my pathetic white maleness. Finally, I would like to apologize to Carlos Maza, aka Voxboy. I'm sorry. It was wrong of me to point out your easily definable and readily transparent attempts to weaponize a multi-billion-dollar corporation in order to try and stamp out your competition, and also at the same time implying that you were little more than a tool being used by your corporate masters in a vain attempt at retaining relevancy. And while I'm sure you have no problem with massive tools, it was wrong of me to imply that you are one. You, sir, are also beautiful and brave. It takes both beauty and bravery, indeed the bravest of bravery, to insist on competitors being deplatformed completely and to advocate for physical violence against those that might hold different political views than yourself. Godspeed to you all. I will now retreat back into my shell with a better understanding that I must learn my place in this new world order and my new role as both an oppressor and as a second-class citizen. I realize that due to my inherent privilege that is the color of my skin, I am not deserving of what I have, and that none of you should in any way go to my Ko-fi or Ko-fi or whatever and donate to my continued existence. Links in the description below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.